Shalom, brothers and sisters. Grace, mercy, and peace be unto you from Yahuwah the Father and Yahusha our Mashiach, his voice. Hear, O Yasharalites, Yahuwah our mighty one is one Yahuwah. This is Brother David coming to you again to bring you the laws, statutes, judgments, and commandments of Yahuwah. And we're starting today from Deuteronomy chapter 32. Now, I have another video that is attached to this one. The lies of the Jews. We've seen how they have placed in the Old Testament 3 different transliterations of our Mashiach's name, and none of them were right. They gave you Joshua. They gave you Oshay. Then they gave you Hosea. Now, which one is it? How could one name morph into so many different transliterations in one chapter or one book? The book of Deuteronomy. This is why you have to check on everything. The people who are giving you the information in the Strong's Concordance, in the Blue Letter Bible, that's coming from the Jews. I hope you understand that. When it goes to the Hebrew translations, transliterations, these people go to the Jews because they believe that they are the people of the book. Do you think they're going to give them the true information? Well, they do. Also, they give you the false information. The false information is promoted, while the true information is hidden in plain sight. You have to seek it out. They say if you want to hide anything from people, write it in the book. Let's see what the book has to say today. Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 1 to 6. Verse 1. Give ear, O ye heavens, and I will speak and hear, O earth, the words of my mouth. Verse 2. My doctrine shall drop as the rain. My speech shall distill as the dew, as the small rain upon the tender herb, and as the showers upon the grass. Verse 3. Because I will publish the name of Yahuwah. Ascribe ye greatness unto our mighty one. Verse 4. He is the rock, not Jesus, not Yahusha. Yahuwah is the rock. His work is perfect, for all his ways are judgment. Without judgment, brothers and sisters, there's no righteousness. A mighty one of truth and without iniquity, just and right is he. Verse 5. They have corrupted themselves. He's talking about us. Their spot is not the spot of his children. They are a perverse and crooked generation. Verse 6. Do ye thus requite Yahuwah, O foolish people and unwise? Is not thy father that have brought thee? Hath he not made thee and established thee? He's telling you that the children of Yasharalites are of the pure bloodline of men that comes from Adam. Verse 7. Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, We cannot ask our fathers. We've been destroyed. This has been forgotten. But the Father has put it in this book. And this book will show thee thy elders, and they will tell thee. Our elders wrote these books, the prophets, the Torah. Verse 8. When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Yasharalites. Even then, the children of Yasharalites were thought out. He had already knew that he would draw them out from amongst the people and set them as his own. But look at what he says. He separated the sons of Adam. Why does he point that out? Because there's other bloodlines on this earth that should not be here. Verse 9. For Yahuwah's portion is his people, the ones he created. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. The ones who shall inherit the earth are those who are of the bloodline that comes from Jacob, Yasharal. Verse 10. He found him in a desert land, not in Siberia or in the frozen tundras, but in the desert. This tells you it's not one of these European people that you see here. We're talking about people who are melanated, who live in the desert. And in the waste, howling wilderness, he led him about. He instructed him. He kept him as the apple of his eye. Verse 11. As an eagle stirreth up her nest, fluttereth over her young, spreadeth abroad her wings, taketh them, beareth them on her wings. How many of you know how an eagle trains her chicks? When they come of age and it's time for them to learn how to fly, she just pushes them out the nest and then she goes and flies under them. And if they can't catch their flight, she will bear them on her wings and bring them back to safety. This is what Yahuwah did to our patriarch, Yasharalites. Verse 12. So Yahuwah alone did lead him, and there was no strange God with him. He didn't know all of these names that we know today. Verse 13. This is our history, brothers and sisters. If this is boring to you, we are rediscovering our history. It's been right here in the book, and we just didn't know. Verse 13. He made him to ride on the high places of the earth, that he might eat the increase of the fields. And he made him to suck honey out of the rock and oil out of the flinty rock. Verse 14. Butter of kine and milk of sheep, with fat of lambs, and rams of the breed of Bashan, and goats with the fat of kidneys of wheat. And thou didst drink the pure blood of the grape. Verse 15. Here's the indictment. But Jeshurun waxed fat. Jeshurun is like a nickname for the children of Yasharal. It's not Jeshurun, but. And we kicked. Thou art waxen fat. Thou art grown thick. Thou art covered with fatness. Then we forsook our mighty one, which made us, and lightly esteemed the rock of our salvation. That's what verse 15 is talking about. Us, brothers and sisters. This bloodline is one. What your ancestors did, you also did. You turn back to Yahuwah. Every single sperm cell that is in your loins have turned back to Yahuwah. They are covered under this covenant, this contract. Verse 16, they provoked him to jealousy with strange gods. With abominations provoked they him to anger. This is what we did. Verse 17, they sacrificed unto devils, not to the mighty one, to gods whom they knew not, to new gods that came up newly. He's talking about us, wood and stone, whom your fathers feared not. They couldn't fear them. They didn't know them. Verse 18, of the rock that begot thee, thou art unmindful, and hast forgotten the mighty one that formed thee. He created us with his own hands. Verse 19, and when Yahuwah saw it, he abhorred them because of the provoking of his sons and of his daughters. Verse 20, and he said, I will hide my face from them. I'm going to turn my back. I will see what their end shall be. For they are a very froward generation, children in whom is no faith. Verse 21, here we go. They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not the mighty one. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities. We are a vain people. And I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. Did you hear that? He's going to turn the tide, he said. The tide has been turned now upon us. We have been moved to jealousy with someone who are not even listed in the bloodline of men. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. There is no more of a foolish nation than that of the Jews. Yet they're ruling the world, because the world today is run by foolish men. Verse 22, for a fire is kindled in my anger, and shall burn unto the lowest hell, and shall consume the earth with her increase, and set on fire the foundations of the mountains. This sounds like Game of Thrones, huh? Verse 23, I will heap mischiefs upon them. I will spin mine arrows upon them. He's talking about us because of our disobedience. Verse 24, they shall be burnt with hunger and devoured with burning heat and with bitter destruction. I will also send the teeth of beasts upon them, with the poison of serpents of the dust. Verse 25, the sword without and the terror within shall destroy both the young man and the virgin, the suckling also with the man of gray hairs. No one is excluded. Verse 26, I said I would scatter them into the corners, the four corners of the earth. I would make the remembrance of them to cease from amongst men. We have totally been forgotten. They believe that the white image is the image of the Mashiach. They believe that the Jews are the people of the book. We are totally forgotten. Verse 27, were it not that I feared the wrath of the enemy, lest their adversaries should behave themselves strangely, and lest they should say, our hand is high, and Yahuwah have not done all this. Your enemy believes that he is the one responsible for destroying you. Yahuwah is telling you right here, it is he who took the initiative against us and passed judgment. If he did not turn his back, turn his face from us, This could never have happened. Your enemies cannot brag or boast because they have destroyed you. They have not defeated our mighty one. They've defeated us because he walked away. Verse 28, for they are a nation void of counsel, neither is there any understanding in them. Who's our leaders? Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Al Sharpton, Barack Obama. We don't have counsel. All of these men were teaching us to be included. They did not teach us Torah. They did not teach us to turn back to Yahuwah. If they did not teach us that, they cannot be our leaders. Verse 29. Oh, that these people were wise, that they understood this, that they would consider their latter end. Verse 30. How should one chase 1,000? How should two put 10,000 to flight? Except their rock had sold them, and Yahuwah had shut them up. Without your rock, Yahuwah, you're weak. Verse 31. For their rock is our rock. Satan cannot handle our mighty one. No God can handle our mighty one. Even, indeed, our enemies themselves, being the judges, they are the ones who have ruled over us. Their rock, their God, is ruling over us because we have forsaken our rock. Verse 32, for their vine is of the vine of Sodom and of the fields of Gomorrah. Their grapes are the grapes of gall. Their clusters are bitter. Verse 33, their wine is the poison of dragons and the cruel venom of asps. Verse 34, is not this laid up in store with me and sealed up among my treasures? Verse 35, to me belongeth vengeance and recompense. Their foot, us, we, the children of Yasharalites, this generation, their foot shall slide in due time. For the day of their calamity is at hand. We're suffering it now. And the things that shall come upon them make haste. Verse 36. For Yahuwah shall judge his people and repent himself for his servants. He's going to change his mind for us. When he seeth that their power is gone and there is none shut up or left. Verse 37, and he shall say, now, Yasharalites, where are those gods that you chose over me? Their rock in whom you trusted. Why haven't they delivered you from this calamity? Verse 38, which did eat the fat of their sacrifices and drink the wine of their drink offerings. Let them rise up and help you. Let them be your protection. Those gods of wood and stone that neither speak nor hear, nor can they come to your aid. Verse 39, see now that I, even indeed I, am he, and there is no God with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. Verse 40. For I lift up my hand to heaven and say, I live forever. Verse 41. If I whet my glittering sword and make my hand take hold on judgment, I will render vengeance to mine enemies and will reward them that hate me. He will only show mercy unto thousands that love him and keep his commandments. Verse 42. This is judgment, brothers and sisters. I will make mine arrows drunk with blood, and my sword shall devour flesh, and that with the blood of the slain and of the captives, from the beginning of revenges upon the enemy. Verse 43, rejoice, O ye nations, with this people, his people, for he will avenge the blood of his servants. We're not looking forward for anyone to come to save us. We don't need the Europeans to save us, the Hamites to save us, or any other nation to save us. Our mighty one will avenge us and will render vengeance to his adversaries and will be merciful unto his land and to his people, the ones whom he has formed with his hands. Verse 44, and Moses came and spake all these words of this song in the ears of the people, he and Hoshea the son of Nun. Here's your third transliteration. This time they say Hoshea. They've said Oshe, they said Joshua, they said Hoshea. Not once did they say Husha or Yahusha according to the real transliteration. They got these transliterations from the Jews, brothers and sisters. You will never find the name of your father if you follow them. You have to seek him out with all your heart, mind, and soul. Verse 45. And Moses made an end of speaking all these words to Yasharalites. He was talking to us, not to the world. This is our book. This is our history book. This is all about us, this prophecy of the end time. And he said unto them, set your hearts unto all the words which I testify among you this day, which ye shall command your children to observe to do all the words of this law. Verse 47, for it is not a vain thing for you, because it is your life. And through this thing ye shall prolong your days in the land, whither ye go over to Jordan to possess it. Verse 48, and Yahuwah spake unto Moses that selfsame day, saying, verse 49, get thee up into this mountain, Abarim, unto Mount Nebo, which is in the land of Moab, that is over against Jericho, and behold the land of Canaan, which I give unto the children of Yasharalites for a possession. Verse 50, and die in the mount whither thou goest up, and be gathered unto thy people, as Aaron thy brother died in Mount Hor, and was gathered unto his people. Once we die, we're going to be gathered unto our ancestors. That's what it's saying here. Verse 51, because ye trespassed against me among the children of Yasharalites at the waters of Meribah Kadesh. This is Moses' transgression. In the wilderness of Zin, because ye sanctified me not in the midst of the children of Yasharalites. He didn't set Yahu apart. Verse 52. Yet thou shalt see the land before thee, but thou shalt not go thither unto the land which I give unto the children of Yasharalites. This spells it all out, brothers and sisters. We have been a stiff-necked and rebellious people from the very beginning. The reason that we lost everything, our ancestors, which means us, we're all the same. This bloodline is perpetual. If Abraham sinned, we sinned also, because we were all in Abraham's loins. I want you to understand that. The seed is in this man. In his loins is the future generations, brothers and sisters. If Abraham sinned, so did the seed that was in his loins. That's how this thing works. That's why it's perpetual. That's why it's come down upon us. We are suffering the penalties for our ancestors' actions and ours. Double trouble, calamity. This is Jacob's trouble, Jacob's trouble, Yasharalites' trouble, brothers and sisters. We are experiencing it today, and it's probably going to get worse than what it is. Continue to chapter 33. Shalom.